Hey guys, I thought in time for Halloween I'd do a video on my favorite horror and cult films. Now I'm sure I've left quite a few off that I like. What I did was I went through like my DVDs and picked up the ones that jumped out to me right away. Like the ones that I usually think of when I think of some of my favorites. And first, of course, I'm going to always show in these categories one of my favorite films directed by John Mcbride, The Woodchip Massacre. I can't tell you enough. Everybody out there who, if you have any interest in like the kind of videos I do, I have a strong feeling you'll like this video. And it's about a terrible aunt, I believe. Sometimes I forget if it's an aunt, not a grandmother, who comes to the house to watch these three kids. And they accidentally kill the aunt and have to dispose of her in the wood chipper. Just check it out. And the next movie I'm going to show is Christmas Evil, which is a movie about a killer Santa Claus. Well, it's just a guy dressing like Santa Claus, but I know some people don't like it because they don't like movies that put down Christmas. It doesn't really put it down, really, because the guy actually thought he was Santa Claus. And the next film I'm showing is Night of the Comet, which is one of my favorite movies of the kind, like this kind of movie, like being one of the only people alive left. I saw they're doing a movie similar in this style, like, and also like the Last Man on Earth, I think. That new movie with Will Smith. I don't remember the name, because it didn't stick out very well, but it's about him, like, being alone by himself, and then at night, like, these creatures come out. The creatures kind of look like bad effects. I think they should have just made it more about Will Smith being alone, and I don't know, I'm not big on the CGI stuff. I don't know, unless it's done really well, and if it's done for a real needed purpose, then it makes sense. But if it's just like supposed to be a monster or something, just use suits. They look better if you light them right. If you don't know how to light them right, then they look like shit. And the next movie, which is pretty hard to get, but if you go to any horror conventions, you'll probably find a bootleg of it, Bad Ronald. And this was about a boy whose mother, who accidentally kills this girl, and his mother hides him out in the basement, but no, hides him out in that's what they said in the back, it's not in the basement, hides him out in the bathroom, and they board the room up, and he lives back there. He can't come out of there, and one day the mother goes for an operation and dies, and the boy is left in the wall, and he can get out, but then a new family moves in, and he's spying on them. Then it gets kind of perverted, and it gets really odd. It was a TV movie from the 70s, but it's absolutely a must-see if you can find it. And then this movie that John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper did, Body Bags, which is very rare to find, and not many people talk about it, but it's one of those anthology kind of stories like Creepshow, and it was one of my favorite ones of that type. It was as good as Creepshow, and you should definitely check this out if you can find it. And if you notice, I'm trying to show more rare favorites because I don't want to show like all the ones you would already know, like, Halloween and stuff, because some of them I really like, but I just don't want to show ones you would already all know. I want to give you an idea about some new ones. And another one that I like, which is sort of more of an erotic kind of film, Daughters of Darkness, but it's a very well done horror film. And I don't even know how to explain what this one was about. It was about, like, I don't even remember how to explain it, but it was very good. And this one I really love. And a lot of people, I don't know if most people probably know, but some of the teens might not. Hills Have Eyes and stuff was not the new one was not the original. There was the original version, which is the worth watching one. The remake was actually good, the first remake. The sequel was absolute crap. I mean, it was probably one of the worst horror movies I can say I've seen next to Saw 4, which I know I've gotten a lot of crap from that video that me and MJ did with Don and Murph talking about Saw 4. A lot of people were really mad that we put that down, but I didn't like it. I mean, I like gore films and all, but that movie was just, it's basically like going to a snuff film, which is a film when you watch somebody killed. And that's basically what it is, and that's all it is. The first movie was a real story. I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know if I've grown out of those kind of movies or what, but I don't care. And another one, which is a really odd film, which probably not many people have seen, is about called Funland. It's about a clown that works at a amusement park and then gets fired and then wants to, and starts killing people, taking revenge. And this was directed by the guy who also did Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 and Fast Food with Jim Varney. Ernest was in that, and I think Tracy Lords was, which it wasn't a bad movie. And then Zombie, they call it Zombie 2. It's always a discrepancy of what you're going to call it, but if you see one that says Zombie and one that says Zombie 2, they're the same movie. It's supposed to be the sequel to Dawn of the Dead, the unrelated Italian sequel, which is definitely a must-see. One of my favorite, Italian or foreign zombie films. And then other zombie films, of course, Dawn of the Dead, the original one. The remake is fine, but if you want to watch a good movie that's really good, watch the first one. And what makes the first one so amazing too is that it takes place in the 70s. That's one of the main parts, in a mall in the 70s. And I love old-looking malls. That's like one of my favorite things. There aren't many left anymore that I can find, but if I find a mall that hasn't been changed much since the 70s or 80s, it's like my heaven. Like one of my favorite malls in all of time was Hunt Valley. Then it was torn down, and it was always depressing. Like now it's a Wegmans and a shopping center. It's real depressing to go there because I always think of my favorite mall gone. And that's happening now. Even regular malls are now being remodeled. I know people say, oh, remodeling, you got to keep up with the times. I'm not big on keeping up with the times. I'm sure some of you out there aren't big on that either. I'm just not big on all that, like remodeling. I don't like remodeling. And then Day of the Dead, which was filmed in 85. Something else happened that year, but I'm not telling. And this was also a great zombie film, which is also being remade, sort of. The remake apparently isn't going to take place underground. And I don't know, I forget where they filmed this underground, because I saw an episode of that Dirty Jobs. And the place, it was like a salt mine. It looked exactly like the underground parts from this movie. I don't know if it was the same place, because I don't remember where they filmed that. But it's a movie about survivors underground, in this underground place. And it was as good as Dawn of the Dead. And then Last House on the Left, which has now sort of become somehow talked about. Like when I first started watching it, it wasn't spoken about much. And it's one of my favorite types of movies, these, what kind of, I don't even remember what you call these kind of movies, but anything in this style. That's why I like Cabin Fever, because it was a similar movie. A lot of people don't like that. That's probably because they haven't seen those kind of movies or don't like movies of that type. Another one that's very similar, which is sort of a knockoff, but it stars David Hess, who I really hope will get more horror movie work. And I heard that he's going to be in the Cannibal Holocaust. I don't know if it was a remake or a sequel, something like that. And I'm really glad he's going to be in that. I've been waiting to see him at a horror convention, but I don't know if he does that many of them. And this movie was a very similar, House on the Edge of the Park, which was really difficult to find years ago. I remember, for some reason, it was credited under its Italian name. Don't ask me why. So if you would call up, this is before, I was doing a lot of internet ordering, I had to call up and ask for it in the Italian language. And I think I started internet ordering because of this movie. Because I went for weeks trying to get it. And nobody got it. And that was when I realized, you want weird horror movies, you're not going to find them in the store. You're going to have to go to CD Universe or Amazon or something like that, because I don't do that anymore. I used to do, go all these places to try and find these weird movies. And then I realized it's not worth it. Just go online and order them. Like when I still see people come in stores and go, do you have that? And then they order it from the store. That's a terrible way to do it. That takes can take over a week to 2 weeks. You get it online, you can have it the next day if you pay more. But I usually use CD Universe and do the 2 to 3 day, which is I think it's usually $1 or $2. And it's there in 2 days. I mean, it's the way to do it. The next one is Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is another one of these movies that I've always liked since I was a kid. I don't know if I was 8 or something when I rented it, but I've always liked this movie. And It really sucks because I know, was it the Chido brothers? Is that how you say it? Always wanted to make a sequel to this, and a couple of years ago it was listed as being made, and then I don't know what happened. The idea never went through, and I hope somebody gives them money to make this. They're making Indiana Jones and stuff. After all these years, that doesn't. So why can't they make Killer Clowns after all these years? Just like with Pee-wee, there's all this discrepancy on if that's going to happen, if it is, and then on Internet Movie Database it keeps saying in production, then it says it has no info about it. So it's like, why can't they just give them some fucking money to make a good movie? I mean, Indiana Jones is fine and all, but Indiana Jones, like Harrison Ford's a little bit of an old poo, and I mean, I want to watch something really inspiring, and I don't know if Indiana Jones and I like Indiana Jones. Cut this, strike that. The one I'm thinking more of is Rambo. I'm sorry, but that's really pathetic of Sylvester Stallone to bring that back. I mean, he is old. I mean, I'm fat, and he's fat. I'm fatter than him, but he's overweight. They'd be doing a movie like that? What the fuck? I mean, what? Who thought that was a good idea? It's not an action anymore. It's a comedy. I mean, I don't know if anyone else sees the humor and how funny it is. That after 20 years, for some reason, they're making Rambo, another one, and they're not even calling it Rambo. What would it be, 4 or 5 by now? They're just saying Rambo. Almost like they want you to forget that there was ever other ones. They want you to go, just like they did with Die Hard 4. They said, live free or die hard. They didn't even say Die Hard 4. It's because they want to make more money, make people think it's something new. When there's so few new things nowadays. It's just sequels and remakes. Especially like with Lionsgate. Lionsgate needs to make something original besides making these Saw sequels. I mean, they make every so often some interesting movies, but they keep putting all their eggs on those in one basket, meaning Saw 4. It's going to be a Saw 5 and 6. Cut it out. Please. Make something else. I used to really respect you. Now it's just the same crap again and again. And then I liked Deranged, but I liked Motel Hell a lot better. And that was a movie about people going into a motel, and like the people who ran it would put you. Well, they didn't kill you. They took you, and then they buried you in the ground alive, and watered you, and then they used you for meat to make beef jerky that they sold, and it was their world famous beef jerky, and of course it's being remade right now. Go figure. And then my next favorite of this category is Return of the Living Dead, and I have the new edition, but I like this cover better. The new cover is not so good, but this is an absolutely astounding, one of my favorite zombies of films of all time. And I was lucky enough years ago at a horror convention to meet the entire cast. That's alive. There's one or two have passed away, but it was one of my favorite. And it was too bad nobody was at the convention. It was just me, MJ, and about 6 other people in the room. And here's another one that I don't think's in print anymore, but definitely worth watching, Tourist Trap, which was about, like, I keep forgetting, hard to explain what they're about. Well, it's a wax museum. It's about people stopping off at one of those roadside tours of traps. And this one is a wax museum. And then, see, I haven't watched a lot of these in a long time. I just remember liking them. I think they made you, it's kind of like House of Wax. Now, this one I can explain. And I love both of these films, but especially Troll 2. And a lot of people like this movie, I feel, for the wrong reason. They call it like the worst movie and all that. Call me crazy, but I never saw it as the worst, like the best bad movie. I never saw it like that. When I was a kid, I remember back in 1991, 92, renting the VHS in the fantasy section of Walmart, when they used to have that section. They used to have like the Neverending Story, and for some reason I think Toxic Avengers were in that series, in that section. They got rid of that. No Blockbuster has that. I haven't been to Blockbuster in a few years, but I remember like 1999, 2000, they got rid of that section, maybe even earlier. But I remember I used to always rent Troll 2, and Same with the first one, but especially Troll 2. And I always loved it. I just thought it was so cool what was going on. I love the story to it. A lot of people always go, oh, it's so bad. The acting is so bad. I just never saw that about that movie. I don't know. I always saw it as a good movie that I liked. I don't know. I just always wanted to state that fact that I don't see it as that. I see it as a good movie. And of course, the cover, I have a better one somewhere, but this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, which is a must-see. And you're probably like the first remake. The second remake wasn't that good. It was okay. And here's a really rare one that I actually bought probably 2001, I think that's what it says in the back. That's probably when I bought it at Walmart. And they don't know what they're selling there. And because, they have that thing about censoring the music, but then they carry some dirty, like, Hostel 2 and stuff. It doesn't make any sense, you know what I mean? But I guess it's on the line of that. Like they can carry violence, but they don't want to carry sex or something. It's on that line of that. People have problems with it. I have no problem with either of them. That stuff doesn't bother me. But Cage Terror, which is a movie on the line, like similar to Last House on the Left, about a couple who go camping in the woods, and there are these two escaped convicts who are out there, and they play this great 70s music, and the woman is raped by them, and then the guy is tied up in this chicken cage. It's on the property. It's absolutely a must-see. I hope one day they make a better DVD, because for some reason the name Cage Terror is stamped like real lightly in the background of the entire movie, in the middle of the screen. I don't know why it's like that. And when it gets really dark, you can fully see it. That really sucks, but it's such a good movie. And to find a movie like this at Walmart is not the place you would expect to find that. Another one I always loved was Just Before Dawn, which is from the same director of Blue Sunshine and Squirm, both of which I really enjoy. It's another one of those camper slasher films. But this was like before a lot of them. This was from 1981. No, 1980. Might have come out in 81. But I think it was arguing between Friday the 13th, which one was the first. And I believe some say this was, some say that was. But it's another one of those campers in the woods being killed off. And here's one that slightly inspired the Lust for Blood slime sequences, Slime City. And I remember I was at a convention once, a couple years ago, and I bought this. And I wasn't paying very good attention, and I bought it from a table, and they said, would you like this signed? And I was like, no thanks, because I didn't know what she was talking about. But then I realized the people that I bought it from wasn't like a table, like an Anchor Bay or something selling it. It was actually the people from the movie selling it. And then I realized it could have gotten them to sign it. I wasn't being very observant that day. Just like when I was at Comic-Con this year and was interviewed by these guys. Of course, I got cut off of ABC's broadcast, but these guys were like, can we interview you? And it turned out it was like the guy from the Clark and Michael show, and this other guy from the 10-minute show or something, and like the one guy who was in Clark and Michael is the star of the show Greek, like a popular ABC family show. It's funny, I was talking to them, didn't even know who the hell they were. And the last two, I'll show Race for the Devil, which of course is being remade now, and it's about a bunch of campers that go out in an RV truck, and they witness a satanic ritual going on, and then they are chased down, and the whole town is in on it. I can't say anything else without giving it away. And this film, which I got probably in like 2004, which I love. I've only watched a couple of times, but it's called I Drink Your Blood. And I know you're going to think, it's not real gory, like a gore fest or anything. It's about like these hippies, and this one woman gives them meat pies, and then it turns them into somehow the one guy's blood had rabies, and they put the rabies in the meat pies and fed them to the hippies, and the hippies started becoming like deranged nuts and killing people. It was a great movie. So I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, sorry if it was a little long, but I was trying to go through everything and give you an idea what they were about, so you have a slight idea what they are. And these are ones that I would suggest that you check out, either rent or buy. And I'm sure you can find most of them online. You can get the used versions, which is a good way to get something if you're not fully sure about them. You can get them on Amazon's used section. It's what I do with a lot of movies. And you can get stuff used, like for some of them as low as $2 up till like 10 to 15. Shipping's like $2. So you end up, usually you can save a lot of money getting them used, and I've never had any problem with them. And most people handle discs fine. I mean, unless they're like got a bunch of kids and they throw them around like frisbees. But you don't have to worry about discs as much. The problem with used was more with VHS. Like, people would screw them up. I remember once I bought, no, I didn't buy it, I rented. This is when I stopped renting tapes. A copy of Dolls. And there was something flawed with the tape, and it broke the VCR downstairs, broke the VCR up, and the VCR upstairs. When I tried to figure out what was going on with it, somebody must have done something to it, or something was screwed up, but it just destroyed the VCR in an unfixable way. I don't know what it did, but best not be careful if you buy used tapes. So the VCR I've kept, I don't know, 7 years, and it keeps working. I don't buy many tapes. If I buy them, I just transfer them to DVD to watch them. I just have like a little wall of them that I just kept ones. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I may do another one on these type of films, like a volume 2 to this, and I'll just respond to it. So check out this one and the other one that I just put up, talking about the movies to get this week, and the movies that I've got, like a DVD update. So I hope you like this, and keep checking back for new videos. Oh yeah, and if you have any suggestions for movies you want me to talk about, or review, or give my opinion of, feel free, and I'll do that for you. Okay, bye.